Hey everybody, it's Christina of CraftyPaws. I'm here to share with you guys my DT projects for BB Crafts. And these three jewelry pieces I made probably in less than 2 hours. It's taking me 3 or 4 times as long to prep the video, do the voiceover, and my blog post. And I'm going to share with you guys all the products that I used in the description box below, whether they're from Beebeecraft or whether they're from my stash. Of course, there's some old things that I don't recall where they're from, but I'll explain everything. So the first project is super easy. I just added a jump ring to this really pretty charm. It is one of the set of 60 from Panda Hall. It's 60 pieces of 6 styles of Celtic knot charms. And I love this. And I had this black kind of cotton cording necklace in my stash. And it's from Blue Moon. It's an old piece that I think I picked up at Tuesday morning, probably 2 or 3 years ago. And that's it. I just added that charm, and I think it makes a really pretty part of kind of day-to-day dressing, or in particular, I thought it'd be cool for like a Charmed thing, you know, that old TV show. So that's project one. Project two, I'm going to show you start to finish. This is me using a nylon jaw plier, and that's to straighten out the silver wire that I'm using. I think this is like a 20 gauge. And I'm just straightening that out, and it also warms up the metal. And then I'm going to crimp into a 90-degree angle, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, straight across so that it's 90 degrees. And I use the flat nose plier or needle nose plier for that. And then I'm using my round pliers going up about 1/4 of an inch from the tippy tip end of that. And that makes a perfect eye loop. And doing that 90-degree turn first, that bend, and then doing the curl makes this a perfect kind of 90-degree eye, end piece, and makes it look, I think, much more professional. I know a lot of people take shortcuts and just kind of turn onto a round nose plier, but I think this makes it look perfectly balanced. And the first bead that I put on is the 4mm lava stone that I got from Beebeecraft. And then I had pulled from my stash some white stone beads. These are kind of, I think, like marble chips. I don't know where I got them. I am also using some clear glass beads. This one's having a hard time going on. The wire is just a tad bit too thick for that particular bead. There's a clear bead that I added there that went on no trouble. And then I wanted to repeat that pattern. So I'm looking for the hole on this lava stone. And I wanted to make this earring long, kind of modern looking. So I knew I wanted to use lighter weight pieces, and I'm using marble stone chips and glass chip beads. So I wanted to pick the smallest of the lava stones in that big kit that I had picked up from BB Crafts. And I'm just going to repeat that pattern: lava stone, marble chip, glass chip, 3 times, and then I wanted to end with a lava stone as well, so that it ends black at the top and black at the bottom. And the other alternatives, there are a myriad of choices, right? You could do all black or all clear or whatever. I just like really long dangle earrings. I think it looks good with my black long hair. And that is, of course, one of the reasons why I didn't just go with all black beads, which is my normal tendency to go black in my accessories and wardrobe. But that's because it wouldn't show up in my hair, in my black hair. So I'm going to cut off the excess and with my wire cutters, and then again, crimp that end about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, at a 90-degree angle, and then take those round needle nose pliers and then do a full turn from beginning to end, and then I'm just kind of smushing it over, zhuzhing it over, and that is the completed line of beads with an eye at the end and an eye at the bottom, at the top and the bottom. And now I'm going to open up one of these eyes with my needle nose pliers, and you saw that I turned it kind of so that the two ends of the loop go away from each other, not pulled apart. east-west, but pulled apart north-south, if that makes any sense, because the wire tends to get back into shape much more easily if you pull away at a 90-degree angle. And that is just a sterling silver earring hoop or loop, I guess. You can make those too as well with sterling silver wire, but I just had a package of these in my stash. So that's one earring complete. I'm going to show you again one more time, crimping about 1/4 of an inch with that flat nose plier, and then turning with about 1/4 of an inch up from the tip of that round nose plier so that it makes a perfect eye loop. And I'm just making sure that everything's straight there. And then I'm going to start putting on each of the beads again in the same sequence. I wanted the lava stone at the bottom, then the marble chip, and then the glass chip beads. And I thought this was a good combination to go with kind of these Celtic charms, because each of these elements has kind of a natural Mother Earth kind of feel to it. And I feel like that's also kind of the sensibility of the Celtic charms. And having lava, marble, glass, all seem to kind of go together in my mind and look kind of more natural, rather than having totally refined beads. And by the way, if you don't like that kind of rough lava stone, Beebeecraft also makes a smooth polish version of this black bead kit, so that you can get, just solid. I think they're made out of glass, I'm not sure, but they have that alternative as well. And I'll try and look that up and put that in the description box as well, even though I didn't choose that. If that's more your style or sensibility, that's a great kit as well. And so I'm just going through and adding the same sequence of beads, and then I'm going to cut off that excess again with my wire cutter. You just need a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, I think, to make a good size loop. So I'm looking for my flat needle nose pliers, and made that 90-degree turn. And now I'm going to take my round needle nose pliers and do that full turnaround to make that perfect eyelet loop. And now I'm going to take one end and pull it open, put on the charm, and then crimp it back closed. So the charm is now attached. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong plier, so I'm getting the flat ones, flat needle nose. Then I'm opening up the other end. Sorry, it's a little out of focus. My camera is focusing on the earring that's already on my craft mat. And then I'm putting on the earring hook and then closing that back up again. And that's it. A pair of earrings made lickety-split. Super cute. I think these came out really nice and clean. In fact, I'm wearing them today, and my sister commented about how she wanted a pair. The next project is, I'm going to show you just components of it. Oh, and this is the nylon jaw pliers, and I always do that at the beginning to kind of make the wire that I'm working with perfectly straight, and also kind of warm it up to make sure that my twisting and turning and crimping all goes really well. I learned that in a jewelry making class that I took, kind of like an adult education class at the Pratt Design School. So I'm doing the same 3 components, but I'm going to make it much shorter, just 3 beads. So a lava stone, a marble chip, and then a glass chip. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Make that little crimp, that 90-degree turn. And then I'm going to cut off just a tiny bit of excess because I didn't want the loop to get too big, which is what happens if you have too much left over. Go down about 1/4 of an inch on my round nose pliers and make the loop on the other side. So it just becomes this cute little itty bitty dangle. And I've done a whole bunch of them. And I'm using the Celtic shield knot lucky charms that come in a set of 10 to make a bracelet. So I'm going to open up each end, and I'm going to attach the charm on one side, and then I'm going to close that back up. It's a little bit trickier because this loop on this charm is a little bit thicker. So I was lucky that the loops that I left on each side of the strand of beads was just big enough to go around it and still have free movement. Now I'm going to take the next little trio of beads, open that up, and attach it to the other side of that lucky charm, that Celtic Shield knot lucky charm. And as you can see, that is how I'm going to be putting this bracelet together, and the various components, the 3 beads and then a charm, the next 3 beads and then the charm. The only thing I'm trying to make sure of is that the charms, there's a kind of a front and a back, and I want to make sure that each side of the front is on the same side of the bracelet so that when I put it on my wrist, it will lie correctly. And I'm not going to bore you with the entire process, but I did want to show you how that goes. And I'll be adding, I think, 4 Celtic Shield knot lucky charms and then the 3 bead component next to it to make the full length of the bracelet that I need for my size wrist. Everybody's wrist sizes are going to be different, but that worked well for me. And then at the very end, I'm using this circle end piece with a kind of stick on the other side. I forget what these are called. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the description box below, but I have this in my stash. This people use oftentimes as the closure for bracelets. And I'm going to just show you, I was measuring off to make sure that that was long enough to go around my wrist before I finished it off or decided to add more charms or beads or whatever. That's the stick side of the closure, and I looped that through the other end. And now I can put the stick through the little loop, and the toggle goes all the way through, and that's it. That's the completed bracelet, and it matches really nicely with the earring set that I made. And even though I used a different larger charm for the necklace, I think kind of they all go together so nicely. They coordinate so well. And as you can see, after I finished each component, I did put up a card to show you guys, list the items from Beebeecraft that I use. And these are all 3 projects completed. If you enjoyed this process video, please give it a thumbs up and go check out Beebeecraft. I'll put links in the description box below. And right now they're having a flash sale. I think for a few more days. I'll put all the details in the description box. I hope you guys are having a wonderful crafty day. Thanks so much for joining me.